You know, the Matrix was battling the enemy out there, picking them out. I'm going to find those enemies. I'm going to get that enemy, until I realized that until you conquer the enemy in yourself, you can't deal with anyone. In order to be used by God, you have to really be used. You know, we always want to be used for the glorious jobs. Let God put me on the stage in front of the people in the Grammy show with a nice dress on. Let me just praise your name. But that's not being used. Sometimes in order to be used, you also have to be humiliated. You have to be humiliated sometimes. You have to be kicked and beaten. And in that situation, the person who's kicking and beating, he's feeling more pain than you are. You know, love is an incredible thing, and we don't know love like we should. We always talk about, I have unconditional love. Unconditional love is, we don't even know it, because if a person stops stimulating us, we stop loving them. You're not interesting to talk to anymore. Goodbye. But that real love, that love that sometimes is difficult, difficult to have, that's that love. And that's a confidence builder.
Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well. Right now you can see me sketching it out with the drawing that I've made with the projector. This piece is mainly about self-image and just self-esteem and how much it really just affects you as a whole. This piece is really important to me because as society to like forget how important it is, how important perception is, and how it really does dictate your life and how you see yourself and how you see the world and the lens that you view this world in. And I really tried to add like cracks in the vases just to kind of like showcase or like portray we all have our own internal battles and we all have our own internal wounds and stuff like that. But I think what's important is how we've been depriving ourselves from, which it usually just comes from like life experiences and, you know, whatever it is, maybe trauma or something, but like how we all have our own internal cracks, but we have to like heal that from ourselves. We can't be, you know, waiting for external validation or external things to like try to fulfill us in that. And the dead flowers on the left not only like kind of represents the truth of low self-esteem and low image, and like, but also just kind of showcases like the flowers are dead for a reason, because the lack of nourishment and like needing from the self, whether it's basic human worth or whatever it is like it's not there. So how can like that person even like, you know, really truly be there for themselves or be there for their true life and live authentically like themselves, you know, without knowing the basic their basic human worth, you know?
الله يعلم ما نشكو من الألم وما نعانيه من ضيق ومن سقم، لكن لنا فيه ظن لا يخيبنا، حاشاه أن ترجع الأيدي بلا نعم. كم جاد من فضله قبل السؤال، وكم أعطى وأغنى بمحض الجود والكرم. الله يعلم ما نشكو من الألم وما نعانيه من ضيق ومن سقم. قبل السؤال وكم أعطى وأغنى بمحض الجود والكرم الله.
And the flowers on the right, you can kind of see me working on the background here, but the flowers on the right, they just kind of like showcase, like, you know, their nourishment, and the reason why those flowers are looking alive is because it's external needs. Because in both vases, there's cracks. You know, there's cracks in both vases. There is showing that there's no water. You know, there's no nourishment, and that comes from the self. You can't really, like, you know, rely on anything. I mean, other than, like, you know, God, but like, you really can't rely on like really external things, you know. And it just kind of and I think that's why I really wanted to show kind of like a confusion of the flowers not being dead, even though, you know, there's a crack in the vase, you know. And the cracks from within only just reflecting on the importance of understanding your own value as a human, and understanding that can't be received from external needs and validation. And, you know, understanding that you have to put in the work, and you have to put in, you know, you have to put in the work to really be, you know, to heal and to really like focus on yourself, but then really putting in the time and the dedication, so you can create you can create an evidential proof. This all comes down from just self-respect, basic understanding your basic human worth, having self-compassion, self-acceptance. And I feel like once you start doing that as a human being, your life starts to kind of alter in a more smoother way. You know, like you're not being put in difficult positions, or you're not like dealing with the worst of the worst. And even if you are dealing with life challenges, you can get over them, because, you know, at the end of the day, you understand that like you can go through it, and like you can make it out, you know. And I think it's honestly coming down to like just really understanding, you know. And it's not easy. It's not something that just comes in like 2 seconds, you know. It takes a long time, and it takes a lot of work, you know. It may take years, it may take, for some people, 2 months. And it's not something where, like, you know, it's not something that's just gonna be there for, like, you know, I don't even know what I'm saying. But yeah, that's why I think I wanted to call this piece "The Cracks from Within." I just wanted to really I really wanted to paint about internal wounds, and then also paint about how people are not really authentically themselves. And it's sad. There's a lot of people out there in the world who are just not really there for themselves, and then, like, you know, they go about like just living their life not even knowing what they really want or want to achieve or want to do, because they're just so consumed on what everybody else thinks is like meant for them, you know. And it's sad. It's really sad, honestly. But I think this is important. I think it's important to just, you know, be aware of it, and understanding that, like, you know, when you're not really there for yourself, it really does affect your life, and it comes in many different increments, or like different things. You may not understand it, but like you might be lacking in your relationships, whether it's like whatever your dreams, your goals, you know, like you might be harsh on yourself, you might be criticizing yourself way too much, or like whatever it is. I think like it does come in, and it kind of does deteriorate, like, you know, your life. And I feel like the more aware you are of that, the more you can grow as a person, and understand that, like, you know, at the end of the day, this is all, and it's not worth like living this life following everybody, or like, you know, getting your validation from people, jobs, success, achievements, you know, your economic status, like whatever it is. It's like, it's not worth it. And it's more so of like, who do you think you are, in a way where that sounded so funny. Like in a way where it's like, who do you think you are, and who do you think you are, and also just, you know, really understanding that just trying to be your authentic self and to accept all your internal battles, all of your, all your life experiences, and really, be there for yourself in a way where it's like you're truly who you are. You're authentically yourself, and you can nourish yourself, and God can nourish you too. But like at the same time, it's more so of a really understanding how self-image and your self-esteem does impact your life. And I think that's the important part of this piece, and what I really wanted to portray is like the cracks from within can really help you decipher who you are, and what your future may hold, and if you heal from it or if you just continue to carry on the baggage.
كم جاد من فضله قبل السؤال وكم أعطى.
So yeah, that's the piece. I hope you guys have an amazing day. Hope you take care and have a good day. Bye. Thank you for watching.
من الألم